All right, think I'm recording. Your screen share is paused. Oh, no. New share. There we go. All right, hey everyone. I think I'm recording. Am I recording? Hey everybody. I wanted to make a quick video just to reconnect. I'm at work, so hopefully just I think you're seeing my screen. I've uploaded notes for the first 4 chapters so far under content. And they're under the intro chapter test module, as you can see. I've made you a bunch of notes because really, truly, I don't want you wasting a ton of your time reading these chapters. Some of it's important. Chapter 3 is kind of important with all the legal stuff. And as you can see in the notes, I did notes 1 first, and
65 Ramsey, Greenwich Terrace, 7562, 146.5 Avenue West, number 203, and that'll be 146, correction.
Whatever, they didn't even say what's wrong. So I tried to keep it really simple. If I list it, it's something I want you to either know because it's important to know,
634 Anoka,
or know because it's going to be on the test or on a test. And again, I want to make it very purposeful that this truly isn't important for you to know in order to do your job as an EMT or as a paramedic. Like, I don't know what the national EMS scope of practice. It's 2005. It doesn't mean anything to me. But there's a good chance that you could see questions like this on the National Registry exam, which in my opinion is silly, but it doesn't matter what my opinion is, right? We got to prepare you for that. So we're going to talk about patient assessment and about the different components, but they might ask you what happens in what component. Going through these real quick. And then delivery, that's you delivering the patient, not delivering a baby or anything like that. It's state by state. I know you're going to take the National Registry exam. You get certified by the state. The National Registry really doesn't mean anything. States choose to adopt the National Registry standards. I'll quit mumbling too. I'm going to try to stop mumbling. The history, you need to know about the white paper, accidental death and disability paper written in 1966. That's what got us started. All right. And then, well, I wrote it down for you. I'm not going to read you my notes, but you can look at that. So if I've written it in here, it means that you're going to need to know it. Because some of the questions are kind of dumb. We're going to talk much more about medical direction and medical control as we go along, because those are 2 very important aspects of what we do. I have medical direction already. I have standing orders. So if I get called for chest pain today, a standing order that I have is that I can give aspirin, 324 milligrams of aspirin. I don't have to call a doctor to give that to a patient. So I can practice medicine under a doctor's license. I'm not licensed, I'm certified. And I love it how they talk about how licensure and certification mean the same thing. They're interchangeable, except they don't. I'm not a licensed provider. I'm a certified provider in the state of Minnesota. So, and then if I'm on a call and I need help on a call, I can call medical control. I can call an ER doc somewhere and get an order to do something else. So there's chapter 1. Let's go back up here. Chapter 2, I forget what the heck chapter 2 is about.
Copy.
Sorry about that. Oh gosh, workforce safety. Okay, in a nutshell, take good care of yourself. Eat well, get a lot of sleep, try not to stress out. If you stress out, find a good way to deal with your stress that doesn't involve booze or hurting anybody, including yourself. Suicide's very prominent in EMS. Very prominent. You got to know these definitions. Make sure you know those. The different routes of transmission, know those. Those are going to be a test. OSHA, we answer to OSHA for keeping ourselves safe. PPE, personal protective equipment. Nowadays, they've kind of ramped that back up, obviously with COVID. Scene safety is a big thing that we're going to talk about over and over and over. Your assessment for scene safety is never done. It's never over. Hang on.
64 Coon Rapids.
Oh.
Kennedy River Road. On one short rest.
Okay. You're constantly looking for things that could hurt you or hurt somebody else on scenes because they're out there. And then protective clothing and equipment, caring for critically ill people. Oh yeah, this chapter, my gosh, they just jump into this heavy stuff. This heavy stuff that a brand new EMT student can't relate to yet. You can't relate to this yet. You don't know how to relate to this yet. And it's just too much. It's really dramatic and it's too much. But since they're covering it, I've made a few notes from the chapter here. Be direct, be honest. You're going to see some nasty stuff in this career. Find a good way to deal with it yourself personally. And then also just realize that you're going to have to deal with it and you're going to be witness to other people having to deal with it, either themselves, that they're going to be the ones who are dead or seriously hurt, or their loved ones. So read it, but it's common sense. Death and dying, straightforward. Yeah, and then I gave you some quiz notes right there because the quiz questions are silly. You don't need to know when your Tdap immunization is due. It's every 10 years. Like, come on. All right, chapter 3 is an important chapter. And in my notes, it's an important chapter and you're going to read most of it. In my notes, I've listed a whole bunch of stuff. And we got to know the different consents. And involuntary consent, how can you consent involuntarily? That's not a good choice of words. If I've written on here, read this section, it means you need to know the entire section. The nice thing about this is a lot of the sections are pretty short. You're not going to be reading for hours on this stuff. So if anything, read my notes for chapters 1, 2, and 4. Focus a lot of attention on chapter 3 because there's a lot of actual important stuff in here. We're going to talk more about presumptive signs of death. That's how you're going to assess if someone is in cardiac arrest. That's presumptive signs. And then definitive signs. We'll talk more about that. You got to know scope of practice. You got to know standard of care, duty act, negligence, all that stuff. You got to know abandonment. Yep, you got to know all that stuff. We're going to talk about writing reports later on. A lot of that's common sense. And then I made you a proper study guide right here. All right, real quick. And then I'm going to try to keep my videos under 10 minutes because we start to lose. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is all about communicating. All right. If you don't know how to talk to people, you're either in the wrong profession or you better learn. I had a student years ago. She didn't like people and she didn't like talking to people and she was terrified of talking to people. I would be in a patient's room, kicking her feet, telling her to speak, and she just wouldn't talk. I'm like, she's like, well, what do you want me to say? I'm like, say hi, my name's Colin. What's your name? Or your name's Joe. Joe, what's going on today? This is my partner, Dave. I'm with Dave today. That's all you got to say. And she couldn't do it. We had a little kiddo in the back of our ambulance once, probably 3rd grade. Kids are awesome to work with. I don't know what everyone's afraid of. Like, kids are fun. And so she went to speak to this kid. I was like looking at her. I said, Carrie, say something to this kid. She goes, well, what do you want me to say? I was like, and she wasn't snotty. Carrie wasn't snotty. She was just a really shy person. I was like, for the love of everything. So I looked at this kid and I said, so kiddo, what grade are you in? Oh, I'm in 2nd grade. I'm like, ooh, any cute boys in class? Just teasing her. And she's like, oh no, giggle, giggle, giggle. I'm like, yeah, I bet you're flirting with a few of them, aren't you? And it just got her going. And then you ask about her teacher. Is your teacher nice? What do you like to do? Do you have any brothers or sisters? You got any pets? It's not hard. All right. That's not even dealing with talking to the patient in a therapy. I like how they call it therapeutic communication. How do you express to someone that you care about helping them? And a lot of that is your nonverbal communication. A lot of this job is nonverbal communication. You can read about it. A lot of it's common sense stuff. My big thing is you have to convey a message of respect towards the patient. That starts with a message of respect, or the message that you respect yourself first, that you're showing up looking like you want to be here, looking like you care that you're here. You show up that you present yourself in a way to where it shows that you have awareness of yourself. I work with partners who look sloppy. Now I don't work with them. I have coworkers that just look sloppy. Their shirt's all untucked. They're not well kept with their facial hair. They physically just look like they don't take care of themselves at all. They look really sloppy. They misrepresent this profession. Our job is to go into strangers' homes, into their homes, and they hand us their loved ones. They hand us themselves. And I want people to trust me instantly that this guy looks like he knows what he's doing, looks like he handles himself well. Your body language. My last trainee, Joey wasn't. My trainee before that, she started her shifts off with me. The way she stood and carried herself looked like her spine was made of a wet noodle. And so I pulled Amanda aside. I'm like, what are you doing? You got to stop that. You got to become more aware of how you're standing, because you're standing like you're a weakling. And someone is going to take advantage of that. I told her, you're going to get your butt kicked on a scene standing that way. Someone's going to read into that. We go in some unhealthy, toxic people that will be violent towards us if we show them that that's an option. And she was showing a lot of people that was an option, and we squashed that pretty quick. We're going to talk a lot about. Oh, real quick, yeah. It talks about the verbal communication with like kids and elderly and disabled people and people who don't speak English, and they send a message of wanting you to act softer around them. And I don't like that. If you walk into a scene and you communicate non-verbally and verbally that you respect yourself, which means you can respect other people, they're going to feel at ease. They're going to feel comfortable already. Do not talk down to these people either. Don't talk to people who are hard of hearing like they're stupid. Same thing with children. The elderly and children are way smarter and way less fragile than we give them credit for. So don't assume that. You wouldn't want someone else to treat you like you're fragile just because you're a student. You don't want me to treat you that way. I actually do a demonstration. I show you what I mean. If we were in person, I'd show this to you. I'd approach one of you with feedback in either a respectful way or a treating you like you're a weakling way. And every time I've done this with students, they tell them that me treating them like a weakling makes them feel exceedingly uncomfortable. Yet that's what we do to people. One of the things I hate the most is that the advice I hear is get down on the patient's level. Get down on their level. No. If I see one of my trainees or one of my students get down on patient's level, I pick them up. I tell them don't do that, because what you're doing is you're making yourself a target, and you don't need to do that. If you come in and you're rude, or you're trying to be assertive, or you're trying to be intimidating, well, then you need to check that. But if that's not who you naturally are, or even inadvertently are, then you don't need to worry about it, and don't get down on their level. It doesn't help them. It makes them feel uncomfortable. All right, written communication, you and I are going to go over, every one of us. I'm going to help you on how to write the PCRs. Communication systems, I don't know anything about my radios. I don't need to know. So, but you do need to know the FCC controls us. You can't be swearing on the radio, and keep your radio transmissions short. No personal information either over the radio. And then I made you a study guide. Now I'm feeding you answers too, right here. These are answers. I'm feeding them to you because I don't want you wasting your time. I'm not going to do this for other study guides. I'm not going to give you answers for the quiz, but this is a waste of your time. I'd rather you spend it reading chapter 3 and starting chapter 5 and chapter 6 and getting on with that. So I hope this helps. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel and send you the link over here. Email me with any questions you got, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. How do I stop this? Stop share. Oh, for the love of Pete. Stop recording. All right, we'll see you guys.